The sound of shattering ceramic echoed through my granddaughter's birthday party. Little Lily's cupcake tower, the one I'd spent all morning carefully frosting, was now a colorful wreck on the tile. My daughter, Chloe, stood over it, her hands on her hips. Not helping. Not apologizing. Just smiling. "Oh, Mom. You always were so clumsy." The words were light, but her eyes were cold steel. Then she leaned in, her whisper a venomous snake in my ear. "The best gift you could give this family is if you just disappeared." The room went silent. My son-in-law, David, just nodded, scrolling on his phone. "If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from." Let me give this some context first. I need your likes and comments to know you're following along with my story. How did I get here? 5 years ago, I'd handed them my entire life's work. Not just money. My beloved little flower shop, Elena's Blooms. The business my late husband, James, and I built from a single cart on the street corner. I signed it over so they could run it, so they could build a future for little Lily. They promised me a job there, a purpose, a place behind the counter I loved. Now, on my granddaughter's birthday, in the home my shop's profits paid for, I was being told I was a burden. "You heard her, Elena," David said finally, not even looking up from his screen. "We need space. This is supposed to be Lily's special day." Her special day. I'd baked the cakes, blown up 100 balloons, and organized the whole party while they slept in. My only crime was suggesting we don't give a 5-year-old a pony. "Space?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "Where exactly am I supposed to go?" Chloe shrugged, examining a perfect nail. "I don't know. A hotel. Aunt Beth's. Honestly, Mom, I don't care where you go as long as you're not here tomorrow." "This is my granddaughter's home too," I reminded her. "Actually," David cleared his throat, "it's our home. Our name is on the lease. You gave us a business once." Business once. My life's passion, my financial security, reduced to a business once. I stood there in the kitchen I'd painted myself, looking at the custom patio where my flower shop's money paid for the furniture. They'd taken my legacy and treated it like trash. That's when something inside me clicked. Not broke. Click. Like a lock finally turning. "You're right," I said softly. "I should go." Chloe looked shocked. She'd expected tears, a scene. "I'll pack my things and be gone within the hour." David actually looked relieved. "That's probably for the best, Elena. We can talk after the party chaos dies down." "Talk later." As if this was a minor tiff about balloon colors. I went upstairs to the room they'd let me stay in. Not my room. The spare room. As I packed my suitcase, I could hear them downstairs already. Chloe was suggesting turning it into a walk-in closet. David thought it'd make a good gaming room. Neither of them thought for a second about the woman whose life they'd just emptied out. I paused at a photo of James, his arms covered in dirt from helping me plant our first rose bushes. "Don't worry, my love," I whispered. "I'm not going down without a fight." But first I had a phone call to make. Sitting in my car outside their house. No, outside the house my flower shop paid for. I dialed my accountant's number. Benji Carter had handled my books since James passed, and he'd warned me about this. "Elena, it's Sunday. Is everything all right?" "Benji, I need you to pull the paperwork on the shop transfer." "All of it." "Has something happened with Chloe?" I told him everything. The shattered cupcakes, the ultimatum, the casual way they dismissed my life's work. Benji listened, and I could hear him tapping keys. "Elena, I've been worried. The way they've been running the shop into the ground, treating your gift like it was nothing." "What do you mean what it actually was?" Another pause. Longer this time. "You don't remember the clause we put in? The one I insisted on after you worried about David's business sense." My heart hammered. "Benji, please tell me you protected me." "Oh, honey. You didn't give them the shop. Legally, it's a transfer of management with a fiduciary responsibility clause. They never filed the final ownership paperwork. In the eyes of the law, you still own Elena's Blooms. 100%. I nearly dropped the phone. Are you serious? Dead serious. They were supposed to formally buy you out over 5 years. They made one payment and stopped. The business is still legally yours. Through the window, I could see Chloe laughing, already on the phone, probably telling her friends about the crazy lady who finally left. She had no idea. Benji, what would happen if I wanted my shop back? Well, as the legal owner, you'd have every right to walk in and take it back. They'd have no legal standing. I watched David open a bottle of champagne, toasting their freedom from me. Benji, I need you to prepare a notice of reclamation. First thing tomorrow morning. Elena, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. They want me to disappear. Fine. But I'm taking my life's work with me. After hanging up, I sat in the quiet, watching them celebrate. They had no idea their free ride was over. But first I had one more call to make. Party Palace, this is Tina speaking. Hi Tina. This is Elena Flores. I need to speak to you about the pony rental for tomorrow's party. Mrs. Flores. Yes, the princess pony package for Lily. It's all confirmed. I'm afraid there's been a change. I need to cancel the pony. Cancel. But ma'am, it's less than 24 hours away. There's a huge cancellation fee. I understand. And I'll pay it. The thing is, I'm the one who signed the contract and gave my credit card. I believe I have the right. A rustle of papers. Yes, the contract is under your name. But surely you want to speak with your daughter first? No need. The pony is cancelled. Please make it happen. Mrs. Flores, with respect, this seems drastic. I watched Chloe through the window, now trying on a tiara meant for Lily. The happy family made it very clear my involvement is no longer welcome. So I'm simply honoring their wishes. 20 minutes later, I was at a motel, eating a microwave dinner and feeling something I hadn't in years. The quiet hum of power. My phone started ringing. What did you do? Chloe's voice was a screech. I muted the tiny TV. I honored your request. You wanted me to disappear, so I disappeared. The party place called. They said you cancelled Lily's pony. I'm sure there are. That does sound like a problem. David grabbed the phone. Mom, this is insane. You can't cancel a little girl's birthday pony. I didn't cancel her birthday. Sweetheart, she can still have a party. I just cancelled the pony I was paying for. You know, the one that was costing me $800. Silence. I'd never mentioned the cost before. 800. Chloe's voice was faint. The pony, the bouncy castle, the magician. Did you think it was all free? Did you think money grew on my rose bushes? But we can't tell a 5-year-old there's no pony. David stammered. You're resourceful parents. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Draw one on cardboard, maybe. Chloe was sobbing now, ugly, angry cries. How could you do this to us? To Lily. We trusted you. Trusted me. You literally told me to disappear. I'm simply complying. I didn't mean the pony, she wailed. I just meant for you to leave the party. Ah, I see. So I was supposed to psychically understand that when you said, disappear, you meant, step outside for a bit. My mistake. David tried a new approach. Mom, please. We can talk about this. Come back to the house and let's work this out. The house where I'm no longer welcome. The house where my presence ruins everything. I don't think so. Where are you even staying? Chloe demanded. That's not really your concern anymore, is it? I could hear frantic whispering. Probably them trying to undo the mess. Can you at least call the party place back? David pleaded. Maybe if you explain. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a very clear business decision made by the person holding the credit card. But what about Lily? What about her little friends? What about them? She's still having a party. They just won't get a pony ride. Chloe grabbed the phone back. You're being a monster. No, sweetie. A monster would break a little girl's birthday cake on purpose. I'm just being fiscally responsible. This will ruin everything. Everyone will think we're poor. Well, now that you mention it, I let that hang in the air. Now that you mention it, without my financial support, you probably are going to be poor pretty soon. What do you mean? David's voice was tight. I mean, have you actually looked at the shop's books lately? Do you know how much money it's actually making versus how much you're spending? More frantic whispering. Because I've been subsidizing your lifestyle. The grocery money I give you, the utility bills I help with because business is slow this month. The little emergencies. Those were gifts, Chloe said weakly. Were they? Because from where I'm sitting, they look more like an allowance. And allowances can be stopped. The silence stretched so long I thought they'd hung up. Finally David spoke. What do you want, Mom? Now that was interesting. An hour ago they couldn't wait to get rid of me. Now they wanted to negotiate. I want exactly what you offered me. To disappear from your family. And I want to take my business with me when I go. By Monday morning my phone had 29 missed calls. I ignored them all while enjoying motel coffee. There was a knock on my door. Through the peephole I saw David, still in his stupid #OneDad party hat, looking exhausted. Mom, please. We need to talk. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. Shouldn't you be setting up for the party? That's what I need to talk to you about. His eyes were desperate. Chloe's a wreck. Lily is crying for her pony. The whole thing is falling apart. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry. Mom, you destroyed your granddaughter's birthday. No, son. I removed my financial support from a party for people who told me to disappear. There's a difference. He pushed past me into the room. This is insane. Over some shattered cupcakes. Sit down, David. Something in my tone made him obey. I remained standing. This isn't about cupcakes. This is about respect. This is about gratitude. This is about treating the person who made your lifestyle possible like a human being instead of a nuisance. We've always treated you well. Have you? When was the last time you asked about my life? My friends. When was the last time you invited me somewhere because you wanted my company, not my credit card? He opened his mouth then closed it. I'll wait. The silence stretched. When was the last time you called just to talk? When was the last time you treated me like family instead of a free ATM? That's not fair. Isn't it, David? In the past 5 years, how much money have I given you and Chloe? I don't know. A few thousand here and there. $47,000. His face went white. $47,000 in help, on top of the flower shop that was generating your income. That's my entire retirement, David. We were always planning to pay you back. Were you? Because Chloe's been shopping online for a new car. You've been looking at vacations in Mexico. Neither of you has mentioned paying me back even once. He slumped forward, head in his hands. What do you want from me, Mom? I want you to understand that I'm not your personal bank. I want you to understand that kindness has limits. And I want you to understand that when you treat someone badly enough, they stop caring about your problems. So you're punishing us by ruining Lily's birthday. The casual cruelty in that statement confirmed everything. No, David. I'm protecting myself by stopping the financial abuse. Financial abuse. That's ridiculous. Is it? You've conditioned me to believe my only value is monetary. You've trained me to expect crumbs of affection in exchange for major financial contributions. I sat down across from him. Yesterday, Chloe told me the best gift I could give was to disappear. And you agreed. After everything, you agreed. She didn't mean it. Yes, she did. And so did you. And you know what? You're going to get exactly what you asked for. He looked up sharply. What does that mean? Smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It means you better figure out how to pay for your own lifestyle. It means you better hope you can actually run a business. And it means you better start looking for a new job, because the flower shop situation is about to get very complicated. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the legal documents you never bothered to read before I gave you the shop. The ones that make me the legal owner until you formally buy me out. The color drained from his face. That's right, sweetheart. I own Elena's blooms, and I'm about to take it back. David stared at me. You can't own our business. We run it. We work there. With my name on the deeds. Did you think that just evaporated? But, you said it was a gift. You said you wanted to help us. I pulled out my phone to Benji's email. Apparently, my accountant had different ideas about protecting my assets. Would you like me to read you the legal clauses? This is impossible. We would have had to sign something. You were supposed to sign something. You kept forgetting to return the final buyout papers. Benji kept them on file anyway. David was shaking now. You planned this. Oh, honey. If I'd been planning this, don't you think I would have done it before paying for a pony? The truth of that hit him. I'd spent a fortune on a party for people who told me to disappear. So what happens now? His voice was small. Now you have a choice. You can formally buy the shop from me at fair market value, or I can walk in and take it back. We can't afford to buy it. The business is worth over $200,000. I know. I'm good at math. That's why I had a successful business. And you two are always broke. He flinched. We're not broke. The shop makes money. David, your monthly household income from the shop is $6,000. Your rent alone is $2,000. Add your car payments, Chloe's shopping, your credit cards. You're spending more than you make. How do you know all that? Because I've been making up the difference for 5 years. Do you think the money fairy was leaving cash in the petunias? The motel phone rang. Answered it. Mrs. Flores, this is Tina from Party Palace. I have the bride's, your daughter, on another line. She's asking about reinstating the pony. She says she'll pay all the costs if you'll allow it. I looked at David, desperate hope in his eyes. That's very generous of her, Tina, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Mom, please, David started. I held up a hand. You see, Tina, there are some family dynamics at play here that make it inappropriate for me to accept payment from other family members for an event I chose to cancel. I understand. Should I tell Mrs. Green the cancellation stands? Yes, please. And Tina, send my final bill to this motel. I'll settle up. After hanging up, I turned back to David. Chloe's mother was willing to pay $800 to save the pony. She's been planning this for months. She invited half her playgroup. How nice for her. Too bad her daughter couldn't manage to be civil to the person originally paying for everything. David pulled out his phone. I need to call Chloe. We need to figure out what to do about the shop. Go ahead. But David, when you talk to your wife about our new arrangement, make sure she understands something. He looked up. I'm not the same woman who walked out of your house yesterday. That woman was desperate to keep peace at any cost. This woman is done being used. You're really going to take our business. I'm going to exercise my legal rights as the owner. What you do with that is up to you. He left, probably to deliver the worst news of Chloe's life on her daughter's birthday. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Elena. Chloe's voice was raw. We need to talk. No, sweetie. We really don't. You made it very clear yesterday that talking to me wasn't something you were interested in. I was upset. I was stressed about the party. I didn't mean what I said. Of course you were upset. It must be exhausting pretending to like someone you obviously despise. I don't despise you, Elena. In the 5 years since you took over my shop, you've never once thanked me. Not once. You've never asked about my life. You've never invited me to anything unless you needed a babysitter or a check. That's not true. When was the last time you called just to see how I was doing? Silence. I'll save you the effort. Never. You've never called just to check on me. More crying. The kind that once would have made me rush over. Elena, please. I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I'll pay you back. Pay me back with what money? You don't take a salary from the shop, remember? You're a stay-at-home mom. in a lifestyle you couldn't afford without my money. I'll get a job. That's a great idea. You should definitely do that. But it doesn't change the current situation with the shop. What if we agree to pay you back for everything? All the money? I almost laughed. Chloe, honey, you owe me $47,000. At minimum wage it would take you years. And that's assuming you never spend money on anything else. The silence was the sound of reality finally sinking in. By the afternoon they'd called 12 more times. I'd answered none. Instead I was watching a movie, enjoying the quiet. My phone rang again. This time it wasn't them. Mrs. Flores, this is Officer Miller with the local PD. We received a report regarding possible financial exploitation of an elder. We need to follow up. My blood went cold. Those manipulative little. Officer Miller, I can assure you I'm perfectly competent. That's good to hear, ma'am. But we need to follow up. Can we meet tomorrow? I felt a surge of pure fury at their latest move. Absolutely, officer. In fact, I have quite a lot I'd like to discuss with you about financial abuse. Just not the kind they reported. After scheduling it, I smiled. If they wanted to play hardball, I was ready. Time to show them what a real power play looked like. Officer Miller was kind but professional. We met at the station Tuesday morning. Mrs. Flores, the caller seemed genuinely concerned for your welfare. I'm sure they did. My daughter is very good at sounding concerned. I spread my bank statements across his desk. Officer, in the past 5 years, I've given my daughter and her husband $47,000. Would you like to see? His eyebrows rose. This is substantial, he said carefully. It is. And when I finally set boundaries, they decided I must be mentally incompetent. I played the voicemail Chloe had left. Mom, this is insane behavior. Normal people don't do this. We're worried about you. Maybe you need to see someone. Officer Miller listened. Any history of cognitive issues? None. I manage my own life. The only thing that's changed is I stopped letting them take advantage of me. I showed him the shop documents Benji had sent. My accountant can verify I'm the legal owner. Everything I'm doing is within my rights. We talked for 20 minutes. He seemed satisfied. Mrs. Flores, I'm closing this as unfounded. But here are some resources. Actually, officer, I think I've got the situation well in hand. As I left, my phone rang. David. Mom, the police called. They said they're not pursuing it. That's because I'm not the one being financially abused in this relationship, sweetheart. What's that supposed to mean? It means you and Chloe have been draining my resources for years. The officer was very interested in my documentation. Long pause. Are you threatening us? I'm informing you that your tactics aren't working. Mom, please. Can we just talk? We can. But not at the shop I own. And not until Chloe apologizes. She's sorry. She's been crying. Has she? Because her voicemail suggested she thinks I'm crazy. Not that she's sorry. Another pause. Where do you want to meet? Benji Carter's office. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. bring Chloe and bring a realistic proposal for how you're going to handle the shop situation. After hanging up, I felt the shift. For the first time, they needed something from me more than I needed something from them. Benji's office was neutral ground. Chloe and David arrived looking defeated. Chloe's eyes were puffy. Elena, she started immediately. I owe you an enormous apology. I was stressed and I said terrible things. Thank you. That's a start. She looked surprised. Benji spread the documents. Let's review. Elena transferred management, not ownership. The final buyout was never executed. The business is legally still hers. David studied the papers. We had no idea. You would have if you'd signed the paperwork, Benji replied. I sent it multiple times. I was busy with Lily, Chloe said weakly. For 5 years. Benji's tone was perfect. I let them squirm. The question is how we move forward. I have a proposal. They leaned forward. Option 1, you buy the shop from me at fair market value. 200,000. Chloe's face went white. We don't have that. Option 2, I take back my shop and you find new jobs. We'd have no income, David said. Yes, you would. You'd just have to earn it yourselves. What about option 3? Chloe asked desperately. There is no option 3. Benji pulled out a calculator. If they've been netting $6,000 a month, they could potentially get similar jobs. That's not enough for our lifestyle. Chloe protested. It's enough for a lifestyle based on what you actually earn, I replied. David ran his hands through his hair. Mom, is there any way we can work out a payment plan? Pay you monthly for the shop. I'd been waiting for this. At what interest rate? You've already proven you don't honor financial agreements. That's not fair. You owe me $47,000 in gifts. You never intended to repay. Why would I trust you with $200,000? Chloe started crying. This is going to ruin us. No, Chloe. This is going to force you to stand on your own for the first time in your adult life. But what about our home? Our credit? I almost laughed. Your credit. Your credit is already terrible. I know because I've been co-signing for you. Benji cleared his throat. Elena has every legal right to reclaim her property. She's being generous by offering these options. How long do we have to decide? David asked. 30 days, I said. That should give you time to figure things out. As we left, Chloe grabbed my arm. Elena, please. I know I hurt you, but we're family. Doesn't that count for something? I looked at her hand, then at her face. For a moment, I saw the scared woman behind the entitlement. Chloe, family is supposed to count for something. That's exactly the point. 2 weeks later I got a visitor. Maria, Chloe's mother-in-law, stood at my motel door with a basket of muffins. I hope you don't mind. I got your info from Benji. I invited her in. I came to check on them, Maria said. And to talk to you. How are they? Terrible. Chloe's a mess. David's working overtime trying to find a solution. They're fighting. I was surprised to find I felt less satisfaction than I'd expected. Maria, are you here to ask me to reconsider? Actually, no. I'm here to tell you about David's father. That wasn't what I'd expected. My husband bailed David out of every mess. Every failed job, every debt. He never faced consequences. I've watched my son become entitled, and I finally understand that his problems won't be solved by more rescuing. He pulled out a check. Chloe asked me to give you this. It's for $10,000. I looked at it. And what did you tell her? I told her I wouldn't be his enabler anymore. She tore the check in half. Maria, that's a lot of money. Money they haven't earned. Elena, whatever you decide, you have my support. Even if it means they lose everything. Maybe then they'll learn. After she left, I sat alone. For 5 years, I'd been their enabler. Every check I wrote taught them there would always be a rescue. The question was, what lesson did I want to teach now? My phone buzzed. David. Mom, I've been offered a job. Pays less, but it's stable. Can we meet to discuss a smaller payment for the shop? I stared at the message. They were trying. Type back. We can discuss it, but I want to see a complete household budget and a realistic debt plan. His response came fast. Anything you want. We just want to make this right. For the first time, that sounded like progress. The budget meeting was a disaster. You spend $500 a month on takeout? Yes. We're busy. Chloe said defensively. You spend $250 on streaming services. $200 on Chloe's salon visits. $600 in credit card minimums. David was adding numbers. Mom, I know it looks bad. It looks like you're living a $10,000 lifestyle on a $6,000 income. But with my new job we could manage, Chloe said hopefully. I looked at Benji. Chloe, you'd be just getting by. What happens when the first emergency hits? We won't. We've learned our lesson. Have you? I don't see any significant changes here. David leaned forward. What would you want to see, Mom? What would convince you? Finally, the right question. I want to see a budget based on your actual income. I want to see you cooking at home, canceling subscriptions, and Chloe getting a job. A job? Chloe looked horrified. Yes, a job. You're 35 years old. There's no reason you can't work. But David makes not enough. Apparently. Benji cleared his throat. Elena, what are you proposing? Here's my offer. You can keep managing the shop, but I remain the legal owner. You pay me a proper rent for the business and its assets. 50% of the profits. The rest you keep. But there are conditions. They both perked up. First, Chloe gets a job within 60 days. Second, you sell one car and pay down debt. Third, you stick to a strict budget with no new debt for 1 year. How would you monitor that? David asked. Monthly financial check-ins with Benji. If you violate the conditions, I take the shop back immediately. Chloe shook her head. That's controlling. No, Chloe, that's called being accountable. They asked to discuss it privately. While they were gone, Benji turned to me. This is either very generous or very cruel. Maybe it's both. When they returned, David spoke. We accept your terms. All of them. All of them, Chloe confirmed, though she looked sick. Benji started drafting the agreement. As they signed, I watched them sign away their financial freedom. Part of me felt victorious. Part of me felt sad. But mostly I felt like I was finally teaching them a lesson they should have learned long ago. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment when Chloe called. Elena, I got a job. At a bookstore. I was genuinely surprised. That's wonderful, honey. How do you feel? Tired, she laughed, and it was real. But also proud. I never knew I liked organizing things. You always were good at it. You just never had to be. Elena, I owe you an apology. Real one. I was horrible. I treated you like a bank and got mad when you had feelings. I was entitled and cruel. I was surprised by how much her words meant. What changed your mind? Having to work for money. Realizing how hard it is to save. Understanding what you sacrificed. And David. He's getting there. He admits we needed to change. How are things between you? Better, actually. We talk more now that we're not stressed about money. It's nice. I'm glad. Elena, would you like to have lunch sometime? Just talk. Thought about it. The old me would have said yes immediately. The new me had learned boundaries. I'd like that. But let's start with coffee. In public. Baby steps. Of course. Whatever you're comfortable with. After we hung up, I sat quietly. Chloe had sounded like an adult. Maybe the lesson had finally taken. My phone buzzed. Text from Maria. Heard about Chloe's job. Thank you for not giving up on them. I texted back. Thank you for not bailing them out. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let people face the consequences of their choices. Sometimes love means saying no. I'd spent years being their safety net. When I finally pulled it away, they'd learned to stand on their own. Not because they wanted to, but because they had to. And maybe that was the most valuable gift of all. Outside my window, the sun was shining. I was finally learning what it felt like to be valued for who I was, not what I could provide. And that was worth more than any flower shop. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.